Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. We are a day early, a couple hours in a day early, I guess, 26 hours early on this week's Deep Dive, as is tradition to get the Thanksgiving Deep Dive in the can early. So that you can have it for your traveling consumption. A lot of people are going to be traveling tomorrow.
Pros, you get it early. You can listen to it while you're driving. Cons, we are way early in the schedule, way early in the cycle of the week. We're going to be without a lot of injury news. But that said, there are like 4 games where we're essentially getting Thursday, or Friday injury news on some of these games at this point. Like we know quite a bit what's going to go down in Green Bay, Dallas at this juncture. So we'll have some pretty cognizant opinions there. And as we drift into the weekend, less so, but we'll definitely talk about how the market's moved, what we think, and kind of where we're headed.
I dig that. Patrick. I got a big. Yeah, let's feast on the sports books. I completely buy into that. We will
also give you our top 5 political conspiracy theories to spark a conversation at the dinner table this Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got an uncle for that, guys. Don't worry.
I have 9 bets in for this week already, so it's a pretty healthy week for me.
Well, there's no buys.
Yeah, a lot of action already. I will say this before we get into Thursday Night Football. Last Thursday, we lost Joe Burrow for the season.
Not great.
We still don't really know whether he was dealing with an injury heading into that game or if that was truly fluky. But I think enough evidence is in that pushing these guys to play on Thursday is probably not good. And I wish the NFL would do something about it. I'll give them buys before their Thursday games so that the quality of football on Thursday was a little bit better and the risk of player injury was a little bit better. I feel like you're going a little above and beyond giving players like Kareem Jackson the death penalty for, quasi tough to gray area.
So I think any other, let's just 53 times 32. What are we talking like? 1,700 players, plus practice squad.
Yeah,
let's round it up to 2,000.
They get a little fine
I think there's about 1,999 other guys that are probably just like, hey, you have one of those. It's like $8,782 fine this week.
Yeah,
but the fact that he kind of led with his head, it wasn't even one of his nastiest hits.
No, not at all.
But the fact that he was just on suspension and he clearly, and I don't know if they'll say it out loud, but if I'm doing this behind the scenes, I say, hey, that's a quarterback on top of it. That is a scarce resource at this point.
Technically, he was not a quarterback in the act of the play, but he's a quarterback.
But he's listed as a quarterback. So, pretty wild that he wouldn't maybe tone it down a little, but there goes 4 more game checks, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, if we really care about player health and safety, we would add a week to the schedule. We would give all of the Thursday teams buys heading into Thursday Night Football, and the quality would be better, and there would probably be less injuries.
What's the change.org?
Change.org. I dig it.
Should we start a thing? Somebody in the Discord start a petition. I bet we get a lot of signatures on that.
That'd be good.
That passed around gambling Twitter.
That'd be good. It's no accident that the Thursday after Thanksgiving, they used 2 teams that played on Thursday Night Football. They know that there's, if they can find a way to avoid kind of the short rest stuff, they do it. I don't know why they don't just give teams buys, but that's fine. Let's get into the games. We had, I don't need to, let's save some commentary on Philly and KC for their respective games, as opposed to just breaking down Monday Night Football. Thankful that the second half under came in. Sad that the Chiefs lost. No idea who wins the MVP right now, although I think it's probably a 6-horse race.
It's like a
that's
low-level
speculative.
claimings race right now.
Yes, it's bad. The quality of football has been bad across the league. The quality of quarterback has been pretty bad.
I'm still gonna watch football 3 more days this week.
Without question. Yeah, we have an extra day. We have Black
Fucking
Friday.
the Jets, dude. I'm gonna
With-
sit down and
yeah.
watch the entirety of a Tim Boyle game.
Give me
I
Tim
don't care.
Boyle. I'll watch it. I'll eat it with a turkey and Swiss cheese on rye.
I'm gonna make my way to US Bank Stadium this weekend
Mm-hmm.
for a high
Excellent.
school game.
Excellent.
Still, I will not pay NFL prices. Jesus, I looked into that for the Broncos game. Jesus Christ. We'll just go to Timberwolves games, man. The NFL ticket prices, they kind of fucking suck.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. And I'd like to watch football at home anyway. So, all right, yeah. Start off the bat. Linos,
Packers. Pretty
divisional
straightforward handicap
match.
here, which is the Linos offense is for real. Like for real. Toughest test that they faced in a while, going up against the Bears and their amazing rush defense. They hung 0.22 EPA per rush on them. That's incredible. Jared Goff had his worst day of the season as a quarterback. They still win. 2 very efficient drives to get that win. This is, in my opinion,
I was going to say
test.
he might have had the worst overall day, but probably 2 of his top 5 drives of the year.
Yeah, that's fair.
Those were really good. And maybe it was tilted in the the light of we just watch him fuck around for the first 2.5 hours of that game. But I mean, he was very good at the end of the game. That was my one commentary on this game was I was fine with it, like the Bears continuing to lose, but I believe it was the Athletic podcast with Mays and Tice.
Sure.
He said something, and I kind of took it with a grain of salt because one guy's a Bears guy, but I believe it was Tice that maybe even said it. We're just like, it's like the Lions last year. At a certain point, you can't be like, hey, let's just get all the top draft picks every year and fuck up these games. At a certain point, you got to learn how to win games.
Yeah.
If you want to turn around.
Learn how to win.
He's like, look where the Lions are now and look what they did last year. People were giving them grief about winning games when they shouldn't have been. They could have had a higher draft pick, but that winning culture, that mantra, that spills over and it makes a difference the next year. And I think, yeah, I'm a little worried that the Bears might not have the right leadership in place, but they're still going to have 2 incredibly high draft picks. Good for the Lions. My main concern with them coming out of that game is their defense has not taken any meaningful steps forward as far as a full season goes. We've seen glimpses of it. We've seen games where the pass rushes look kind of good. We've seen games where they've been able to limit some teams, but they looked really bad against Fields out in space. They looked really bad tackling, and that's a concern because, that was Justin Fields and the Bears. You got to play probably Purdy, Hurts, maybe not both, but one of them. That's a much bigger task. So, yeah, I don't know if the Bears or the Lions should plan the parade. I do think they're still very live for the 1 seed. If you look at the Eagles,
they're going to get a home game. Yeah, they're going to get a home game.
Yes.
So here's general thoughts.
All the Packers are hurt.
All the Packers are hurt. He teased the shit out of this. I also, we'll just name it. Like Devondre, you said it on the podcast Sunday. I think you nailed it. I think your most important player on both sides of the ball is out of this game. Devondre Campbell at a linebacker position is the key to any kind of hope that you stop the run. Do
the Lions have any good running backs though?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Somebody in the Discord made a good
ahead.
comment. He was gonna parlay both running backs to have at least 75 yards.
Oh, I can see it.
I don't hate that because it could be a second half of just like giving them turns.
This is the kind of game.
100 yards.
You know how like they used to bring out the Madden turkey with the 6 legs on it?
Yeah,
I could see them giving 3 legs to Montgomery and 3 legs to Gibbs after this one. Yeah. This could be a 250-yard 2-man effort. Absolutely, no question about it. I don't know if Jair Alexander is going to play or not, but he's going to be limited if he does. And on the offensive side of the ball, Aaron Jones matters a ton for this offense. And in his absence, extra AJ Dillon, who's banged up. Okay, good luck. You drop down to they signed some practice squad players. Go give them a shot, guys. Yeah, give it a go. Brian Branch is going to eat them for early Thanksgiving dinner. That'll be fun. I think ultimately Wicks being out is also a potential that matters. Musgrave maybe.
Musgrave doesn't
that-
sound like he's good.
No, that matters.
No,
like,
I mean,
like all of a sudden
he's-
they're down to nobody.
You
Jordan
still
Love,
have
best luck, buddy.
Watson is not taking any meaningful step forward. Dubs is fine, but like once you have fewer guys to really cover, suddenly this bad Lions defense can be given a shot. So this over took a bunch of money.
Yeah, sure. And
Sure.
you know what? Here's a
It did come down off the highs from this afternoon. I think part of that is just all the bad news for the Green Bay offense. But even getting bet up to 47, I was a little surprised. It's a lot of faith in Jordan Love based on playing against one really. I think the Chargers defense is
so
worse
glad
than the
you
Lions.
said that. Absolutely. They proved it 2 weeks ago when they played.
I wish we had some sort of litmus test.
If we only had some sort of evidence-based reason for this opinion.
Information.
Okay, so here, I'm glad you went to the Jordan Love thing, which is interesting because there's a vernacular, and I'm guilty of spreading it last week. Like, Lord, Jordan Love is playing better overall. Like, he's playing less putrid. In fact, by today's NFL quarterback standard, he's playing top half of the league NFL quarterbacking right now, Andy. This is Jordan Love we're talking about. Here's the bizarre thing, and I know you know where I'm going with this because we've hinted at it, we've buzzed about it, we've talked about it, we've made bets about this. If I were to take Jordan Love's league average, 13th EPA per play this season, and I were to divide that into two subsamples of first half EPA per play and second half EPA per play, would you expect a noticeable difference in those numbers?
I would assume the second half is in the top 10 and the first half is in the bottom 5.
Okay, well, you would be correct about both of those, but it's even more extreme than that. The first half is in the bottom 2. The second half is in the top 2.
Wow.
How crazy is that? His EPA per play in the first half of games this year, Andy, minus 0.123. The only quarterback who's performing worse is Mr. Kenny Pickett. I'm sorry, minus 0.141. It's even worse than I quoted. It's Kenny Pickett, the only guy that's performing worse. And in second half football, it is number 1, Josh Allen, number 2, Jordan Love. So somehow, some way, he is an entirely different quarterback when we flip to the second half of games, which I think just if you want to explanation for why, for whatever reason, he's just not getting the scripted stuff. It's just not working. It turns into he has to be in a negative game state, and all of a sudden he starts playing backyard ball or something. Because what did I say? Negative 0.141. His EPA per play in the second half games 0.259. He's an entirely different player for some reason. And a lot of these games are
it's like the people with really weird kinks. Where they can only get off if they're getting.
I can only get off if I'm losing
riding crop.
14 points.
He can only play. It just triggers something in his in the chemicals in his brain.
It's crazy. And it's consistent too. There's a lot of these games where he was just miserable in the first half, to great in the second half, including against the Lions earlier this season on Thursday Night Football. So I played Lions first half -4. Part of the reason why is counting on this continuing, and on top of that, just there's a chance that the Lions pull away and put this one away early because of how bad the Packers, how bad the Packers injury report is. But there's also a chance the Packers are frisky in the second half and they come back in. Although
I might join you on that. I'm surprised that isn't one of those weird lopsided ones.
Yeah, right. Where there's a big
the market is pushed up to 6. Something silly like that, because not a big difference between 4, 5, 6.
Right.
In between those, at least.
They got to be winning by a touchdown at halftime.
Yeah. I might join you on that. I am going to have it in some teasers. Okay. Obviously, I'm going to be forced to play some teasers a little earlier than usual if I'm using a Thursday game. We'll get to that. Dan's on vacation. Dan's in Minnesota. That's why I was like, where the fuck is the banner? I have to put the banner up.
Good deal.
They're in here. He made them for me.
What a guy.
All right, let's do this.
Oh, excellent.
All right, moving on.
Okay.
Commanders and Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Second game. Is this, Drew, my question to you is this just part 6 of the Cowboys, what did you call? I think you called
Snuff film.
Snuff film.
Yeah,
Like where they didn't even seem that engaged.
Cowboys
last week.
do it again to another. Yeah.
I rewatched parts of that. They didn't even seem like they were that engaged last week. Like that wasn't a great game, and they still just kind of curb stomped them. Obviously, a defensive touchdown puts a little bit of frills on the end of it. But I mean, Carolina's offense didn't get to 200 yards, even with some garbage time. What are you going to do? I mean, maybe they felt bad at that point, but that game was never in doubt. Obviously, this is a home game. This is a meaningful game. This is your tradition, your Thanksgiving tradition game. It's against a divisional opponent. It very much matters. A divisional opponent who's kind of in a spot where they've got to get up. They came off a really ugly, maybe the most embarrassing loss outside of 70-20 this year, just because that's a divisional opponent starting a guy his second game ever, and they whooped your ass. You were a 7.5 point favorite at the end there.
Yep.
So I just don't know. I say that I just don't know that they have enough to get up and beat this Cowboys team at this point anyway.
Yep. No, we agree.
I worry that there's a quarterback that takes too many sacks, and there's a guy who does this crazy like crawling celebration after sacks, and they're going to meet.
Yes, that's very possible.
Matt,
is there a matchup that is that the matchup that kind of stands out the most to you?
I guess that and the secondary.
CeeDee Lamb against Forbes.
CeeDee Lamb against that secondary, because they've shown like, hey, people can beat us. You can send a running back out on some of these routes, and he's going to beat. Maybe it was a slot corner, but it's still a guy he shouldn't be beating that bad. Saquon on that touchdown catch. He had better position. It was a good throw to give Tommy a little love, because that was a pretty good throw, but I mean, he was in a really good position, and I haven't seen anything from the secondary that's been great. And maybe it was masked a little by the fact that, they had Sweat and Chase, where a little bit of pass rush can sometimes help out the secondary a lot more than you think. I mean, they get in their britches beats. I think CeeDee Lamb is live for 200 yards.
Yeah.
And the only way CeeDee Lamb doesn't have a big day is other guys accidentally score first, and he's yanked out of the game because it's a blowout.
I worry a little bit about CD's health. Gallup is not moving the needle at all,
fine,
but he's missing for personal reasons, which is kind of weird. Yeah, I mean, this could be a Cooks game, which there could be some third down clunkiness out of the Cowboys offense here. Cowboys are not a balanced offense still. Tony Pollard still hasn't gotten anywhere close to the level we saw from him the last handful of seasons. And they still have Mike McCarthy calling plays, so they're probably going to do some dumb shit. I will say that the Sam Howell and the Commanders probably should be a little bit more well respected than 11. 11 is a big number. Speaking of big numbers, this is the 9th Thanksgiving matchup between the Cowboys and the Indians. We have at least in my records, which go back to 1990. They maybe played on Thanksgiving days in the 80s, and I just don't remember. But biggest spread so far between these division rivals. We had one game in 1996. This was the Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman Cowboys, which were 9-point favorites over at that time the Redskins. The last matchup between these two teams, by the way, it was the Washington football team at that time came in as 2.5-point dogs, won 41-16. You remember that in 2020? This was the COVID year. I don't really remember that game. Washington just dump trucked them.
I think we took Washington second half.
Oh, they did great.
I feel like I was out in the woods for that.
They won the fourth quarter, 21-0.
I think we took Washington second half, and we had Houston in that game, or in that day too. I'd have to go back and
amazingly, this is a matchup of the same coaches, Mike McCarthy and Ron Rivera. Probably the last matchup of those coaches.
I started to make my list of like coaching openings, and this one feels really, really, really open.
Yeah, I would say so too. Worth noting, two of the more dynamic players on defense in that game were Montez Sweat and Chase Young, who are no longer on the team for the Washington Commanders. That's fine. But no, I think I don't have much to say about this game other than I hope Micah Parsons sacks Sam Howell 6 times and gets a little bit of juice in the DPOY race before ultimately Garrett runs away with it.
And a good point on this from Fuck, I hate saying when you guys have ridiculous names. I have to say it from Cream Corn. Cream Corn says, which I love cream corn. Scalloped corn, though. Uber alles. Washington should be able to run the ball. Yes, while this has been a very, very good defense, a top 5 defense by most metrics, their rushing success rate defensively is like bottom 5.
Yeah.
They have let people. It hasn't been I'm going to have to go back and look at like explosive plays. I don't think it's been a bunch of explosive, but it's just been a lot of like, they got 6 yards on first and they converted that 3rd down on the ground. They haven't been able to get a good push or a good run blitz going. So it'll be interesting to see what the game plan is.
Yeah.
Because if you're Rivera, man, I know he's a hardworking dude, but it's got to be so hard to get up for anything, knowing like your career is pretty much over.
Yeah. To answer Patrick's question, the 1996 tilt between these teams was a Gus Frerotte game. Gus Frerotte did not cover. They lost 21-10. And people are saying for the 2020 upset by the Washington, which I guess they were the Washington. Oh, no, they were the Washington football team. People are saying that was the game that won Alex Smith Comeback Player of the Year that year. As Alex Smith was the field general for that absolute shellacking of the Cowboys. Hopefully this is an entertaining game. I think I don't know. I might ultimately make a play on the Commanders, but it's going to be small. I shared this story once already this week, so apologies if you're hearing it a second time. Did not enjoy holding a big old point spread with the Giants last year against Dallas.
Yeah.
That was an unhappy viewing experience, even though they ultimately covered that game. It did not feel right. And for 59 minutes and 59 minutes and 45 seconds, I was on the losing end of that bet and I was unhappy. So kind of don't really want to do that to myself all day on Thanksgiving. Is that crazy?
No, player props in this for me are nothing. I likely won't have anything. I did like that Cooks look if Lamb is limited, because I mean, you bring up a good point. He says he's good to go. Every player always says that. If he truly, and they can see it in practice, if he's limited, if they get out to a multi-score lead, he doesn't need to be on the field for 90% of snaps. Maybe there's some backups that can start getting, go put Pollard out in the slot for Christ's sakes, guys.
Yeah.
And yes, Washington, somebody brings this up. Washington plays really good against good teams for some reason. I don't understand it. The Sam Howell ride has been, I teased him last week. Said this is a matchup where I probably disagree that they should ever be favored by this much, but how did they lose this game by more than, or not win this game by 3? I don't know. It happened.
Outright, yeah.
All
right.
Yeah, they went 0-6 in the turnover battle.
Yeah.
That has happened 38 times since 1989, Drew. You know how many times a team has won going 0-6?
How many times?
They haven't. That's not something you fucking overcome. It has been like 6 years since someone
was
did
it. Was
it.
the second time that happened with the Commanders this year? Because didn't they do that?
No.
Or is that just 5 turnovers?
6-0 or more. It's pretty rare.
Rare. Okay.
Like you said, it's only been 38 times over the past like 30 some years. So last game was the Peterman game. Everyone remembers that first half. They did turn the ball over one more time.
Okay. Well, just for a little bit of closure, this is the 10th Packers-Lions Thanksgiving Day game. Lions in those contests are 4-5 straight up, 5-4 against the spread. None of those games were any good. They were all pretty forgettable. And again, this is the 9th Commanders-Cowboys game on Thanksgiving, and Cowboys are 6-2 straight up, 5-3 against the spread, 7-1 to the over in these games on Thanksgiving. Also notable, believe it or not, every one of these games is Dallas has been the home team. Pretty amazing.
That's how it works.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
That's how it works.
Pretty amazing that every year your game where you're on short rest, you happen to be at home if you're Cowboys. or Detroit.
It's America's team, baby.
Yeah. Whatever.
Turned to a team that beat the tar out of America's team, the San Francisco 49ers. It looked good. Good, not great. The defense has me wondering. I did rewatch parts of this because I didn't have it. I didn't pay as close enough attention. I was just kind of resigned to losing that bet. It was driving me nuts that Baker kept driving down the field and then, turnover on downs, turnover on downs. Did end up getting a 13.5 home by the skin of my teeth. That's not a bet I ever love making, but man, I couldn't. That was another one where I just couldn't get with it with where I had the metrics for these teams. And we did see that a little bit of an issue, I think, with the secondary when they're pressed by good receivers. And now you lose Hufanga for the year with the torn ACL. Still a very, very good team. And I said this too. I said, if, Tampa had been able to score and put this to like a one-score game, I'm sure we would have seen the 49ers crank it up a little in the, in the later parts of the game. Like they were just sitting there on that 2-score lead, playing a little more conservatively. When the game state was neutral or semi-neutral, Purdy looked real good. And, it just continually super efficient, super good. I can't say the same thing for the Seahawks. The defense has been surprising at points, but I can't quite understand what the game plan is. Gino went out with a heavy contusion. He said bicep, tricep, so somewhere like on the side near the elbow. Sounds like he's going to play. Walker does not, though.
Yeah. That's my read as well.
And then this total's probably where it should be. This is vacillated between 7 and 6.5 based off the Geno news. A little bit of push and pull on this. I know you took some 6.5.
Yeah. we had some weird comms from Seattle today. They trotted Geno out for press in his red QB jersey after, I guess they make him wear non-contact jerseys even for walkthroughs. But whatever the case,
I don't want to bump into him.
No, they send Geno out. He was very brief. First question: how you feeling? I've had better days. Don't love that as an answer. When asked, "You going to play this week?" Not up to me. Coach's call. I just do what I'm told. What? Like, what's going on with what's going on with you in your headspace? If that's your answer to these kind of questions, you're playing.
Sounds like he's been married to a very mean woman for like 40 years. Not my call.
Oof. Didn't love it. Didn't love it at all. And I will tell you this much: if he is limited in any way with his ability to throw precision passes down the sidelines, that is where you can hurt the Niners, and that is what he is good at when he is feeling well. But if the accuracy isn't there, then I have no idea how you're keeping up with the 49ers. 49ers offense matches up extremely well against Seattle. The way that they are rostered, the health of the team currently on offense should be able to put up 30 pretty comfortably here. I think the fact that Seattle can't really rush the passer and take advantage of the one weakness with the Niners, which is their offensive line, that's a problem. I think the fact that even if you do get a pass rush win against their offensive line, Brock Purdy's still lighting you up, that's a problem. I am at the point where I am somehow on the opposite side of the fence of where I lived entirety of last half of last season, where I was like, the Brock Purdy reckoning game is coming, and now I'm squarely with the Brock truthers. And how is he being underrated by the market, by the NFL, largely? I think this guy is the best player in football so far this season, based on what he's done. And if you want to hold his 3 losses against him, fine. The fact that his worst performances came on the heels of being concussed is notable to me. And I would expect that he has a banner day on Thursday night here. And it's going to be a fun matchup next week against the Philadelphia Eagles. So I laid 6.5 here. There was buyback on, I guess, the confirmation or expectation that Geno's going to play. But if you're telling me Geno's going to play with the hurt shoulder and you're giving me 7 points, 6.5 points with the much better offense, I'm perfectly perfectly happy being on the side of the Niners here. And I think, just kind of intrigued to see how their pass rush operates in this game, because as good as Brock Purdy has been under pressure this year, Andy, you know who has not been good under pressure? Mr. Smith. And if Geno is hesitant at all, throwing the balls that he's good throwing, or inaccurate at all, and or just is holding onto the ball too long, this could get ugly quick. Don't love Seattle in any kind of game state where they're down by more than a score in the fourth quarter. So yeah, give me.
Yeah, I think what you said, like San Francisco, similar game to last week for their offense. Like they'll put up 30 if they need to. If they don't, they'll put up 24, 27. Just to kind of keep somebody at arm's length. If Seattle isn't scoring, I think that's what dictates this total 100%. If they're able to play. And Shane's asking about Tampa Bay driving with ease. I think Tampa Bay just kind of has a good offense, especially the game plan they rolled out. Baker has been good. Baker's made good decisions. They were getting their one-on-ones and winning on the outside. Like their receivers were playing really good ball.
Yeah.
They just didn't finish drives, it's tough against this pass rush. And yeah, like we've seen with some of the times that we've seen Seattle successful rushing the passer, if they're able to do it with 4, thank you, Brinks, for the update on Monmouth, Lehigh. The tip for that will be delayed due to the Mountain Hawks bus being stuck in traffic. But if Seattle can get pressure with 4, not pressure, but get home, they'll have a chip chair and a chance. But if you're having to bring blitzes, you're having to bring secondary blitzes, and you're leaving it's not even just like, oh, we brought a blitz, so a guy's in single coverage. It's that guy has the ball in their hands, and there's fewer people between him and the goal line now, because you have the Ayuks and the Debos and the CMCs and the guys that are just very, very dangerous when they get the ball in their hands in space. And, there's one safety that's in the backfield instead of maybe 15 yards deep helping to contain that. Just so I worry if they have to go to the blitz at all, it's going to be more explosive plays.
Yeah, that's very fair. And I know that the Seattle kind of operated their offseason specifically under the we were with the understanding that they lost this matchup convincingly 3 times last year. Like drafting Devin Witherspoon, if you were told me that was because they felt like they needed him to compete with San Francisco, okay. Yeah, I get it. But the Shanahan scheme is so mutable and so so dynamic against the style of defense that Seattle wants to run first and foremost. I think that's just a problem. And honestly, not that I think Kenneth Walker III matters a ton, but what we've learned about Pete Carroll over the years is that even if his RB1 is out, Zach Charbonnet and DJ Dallas are still getting 25 carries in this game. And yeah, I don't think they're going to do much with those. So good luck to the Seahawks. Let's go Niners. I laid the 6.5, and that moves us to Black Friday.
Yeah, this is kind of a two-edged sword. Like, hey, it's cool we get a standalone game on a day that I don't work. Really, I mean, I'll work a little. It sucks that it's the Jets. It sucks that it's not even. And I get, like, we scheduled this Amazon. I can't even yell at Amazon or Bezos for this. Yeah. Scheduled this a long time ago. This was expected to be, Aaron Rodgers against Tua. This was going to be a fun matchup. It's not. We're now to a 10, pretty much 10 at a lot of places with a low total. Not expecting a lot out of the Jets offense. It wasn't an offense that we saw a lot out of with Zach. Obviously, the market has said that Boyle is several points worse than Zach. And this is a defense on the come up. Like the Jets defense, I mean, Jalen had some picks. They're looking better. They're tackling. They probably bailed out a kind of a shitty Tua. It's hard to really reconcile what Tua did last week because it's like you saw it. And it's like, man, he made some good throws. He kind of did. And they just had some shit luck. They had some bad turnovers. They had an off day. And I guess it was lucky they were playing AOC and their defense played well enough. They got the 3 picks on him. And I mean, not really escaped with a win. There wasn't like times where I'm like, oh my God, the Dolphins are going to lose. It's like, man, the Dolphins what is going on? How did they have 400 yards and 20 points? What are we doing here? And I mean, the answer was just turning the ball over at inopportune times. It's the same as what we saw with the Chiefs. Like, go look at the Chiefs box score. Well, how do they not have more points than that? Is there 2 turnovers? We're at the 9 and the -5. Like, you drive the field and turn the ball over, you lose the game. Doesn't matter if you outgain the Eagles by 100 yards. Kind of similar. We'll see. This is a good defense, though. So that's the matchup here. Is the difference in Jets cover or don't cover is how the defense handles Tua. And I don't think I have a good enough grip on what kind of magic will get whipped up from McDaniel here to really say if this number's good or not. I think my pure power ratings have this at Well, I didn't do it. I didn't do a full boil down grade. Like 9.1, I guess, would be where I'm at roughly. So I'm not running to the window to back the Jets, but if I had to, I would probably take the points in a low-scoring game because I do believe in this defense still.
Okay.
I don't think that it's not like Buffalo blew me away.
No.
They had a short field. They basically had 2 really good drives after halftime. That was it. It was punts, field goals, long field goals. There
was some signs of frustration. There was some signs of fatigue.
Coming into the second half, they had 2 really good drives. Buffalo did, but otherwise, and that's another reason I don't want to bet this game is when you hand the reins over to a probably markedly worse quarterback than even Zach Wilson. Like, how do you get excited as a defensive player? Motherfucker, I didn't get Thanksgiving at home. Like, we're in the, maybe they do. I don't know. Do you think you have practice the day before?
No.
You got to be prepping with the team and shit.
There's no dead cat bounce for going from Zach Wilson to Tim Boyle.
Yeah, I don't know that the defense can get fired up. They've played so well. Like that's what I'm expecting, either eliteness from this defense and Dolphins win by like 5, or just a complete no-show because they've given up and, Tua has a couple good passes. Tyreek gets behind the defense.
I think that's a fair range of outcomes, yeah.
Achan's probably missing. I don't know. He would have been limited today, they said. Probably. I don't know if there's a reason to rush him back in a short week. I think Tyreek's good to go. I didn't hear anything in the x-rays.
No, same with Ramsey, right? Ramsey got hurt on the interception at the end of the game, but he's fine. Like, there's some important pieces to keep an eye on for the Dolphins in terms of injuries, but I still think they win. And you're right. There's like a range of outcomes where they win ugly or they win big. And it kind of depends on how much the Jets try. And that's a big question mark because the Jets getting points in this one feels pretty unlikely. Got to tell you. Didn't he mention Mekhi Becton? Although it sounds like they're going to try to play Mekhi Becton with the high ankle sprain.
Yeah, the reports were, he has a high ankle sprain. I'm like, he's out for 2 weeks. And then 4 hours later, Mekhi Becton says he's playing. Okay. They're gonna have to use 2 rolls of tape on that big old ankle.
We're already on a rookie center, Joe Tippmann. We got Billy Turner making starts out here. If Mekhi Becton is out, it's going to be Carter Warren, I guess, is next man up on the left. Tim Boyle behind that offensive line against a good pass rush and Vic Fangio. My expectations are 0 points to 6 points, somewhere in that ballpark. And some of that depends on whether the Jets defense can get them some positive field position at any point during the game. So, yeah, pins or pass.
And we'll get to this when we get to Cleveland. The Jets game plan has to be the Cleveland game plan from last week. Like,
yes,
we fucking suck. We don't have a quarterback. We don't have a chance. All we can do is play defense, guys. Like, what if we play such good defense that we flip the field and all that has to happen is we get one big drive? Like, that drive could come on a DPI. Yeah. We could get a face mask, maybe.
Face mask, yeah.
We just need to get close and get lucky, because if we play good enough defense, and again, like, this offense is way, way, way better than Kenny Pickett. But in that game, it was like, if we can get to 10 points, pretty live to win this thing. Obviously, you need a couple, but like, that's your game plan here. Is you really got to bring it defensively. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was like, hey, we have to force turnovers. We have to be aggressive. We need to be hitting Tua. We need to be in the backfield swatting balls. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it was just an insanely aggressive defense, which again leads to a big distribution of
right.
no, like not Tyree got behind everybody. Tyreek's running alone because they just fucked up this defense here.
I think I guess the point is maybe a fair way to say it is having heard your points, I agree in general, and I think
I didn't bet this game.
I think the chance, like if the Jets are competitive, it's the first half, right? Like eventually they're gonna run out of gas.
Is this a Brinks special? Jets plus what is it? 6?
310.
No, Jets plus 6 parlayed with the under 20
in the first half.
First half.
Okay.
If you see Brinks posting those bookmaker slips after the game,
you'll know.
Would not surprise me if he was in for something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's Tim Boyle, man, though.
Well, that's how you have confidence to play the under.
That too.
All right. You're basically just saying Jets defense keeps this competitive for a half. Yes.
Stefan would be a go.
All right. Jacksonville, Houston is probably the most high leverage game of the weekend, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's for the division lead.
This is for a home game in the playoffs, really. Really?
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Many a slip twixt the cup and the lip here, and this total is up to 48.5 at most places. I wish I'd have jumped earlier. It's not like I could have got, a good money line price anywhere, but definitely said that I disagreed with the Texans being, what were they, a 2-point favorite at some places at open? I said I make this Jags almost -2. I guess that's kind of where we're at this point. This total has ticked up. That makes a ton of sense. Even with the positive feedback we had about the Jags from last week, we still said this defense isn't good. Will Levis just made it look good because that's what we're getting out of Will Levis and this offense right now. And obviously, the Texans let Arizona drive the field a bunch. It's still a problem defensively. So I wouldn't be surprised if this total got past 49. I'm probably going to chase the steam and play over 48.5. I'm just waiting to see if we can get any bad news.
I agree. Yeah, no, we agree. I have lost any ability to read the Texans injury report and glean any useful information out of it. So, hope maybe the market sees some stuff tomorrow and bets some under. But we agree. This is overlook. And yes, it's in division. Weather's going to be no non-factor. Jaguars offense is answering a bunch of questions right now. They look pretty good. Texans defense is not answering questions. Texans offense is good. Jaguars defense is a sell high still for me. Like pretty much everything, every box checks. There would be points here. Jaguars letting the Texans back in via points is a possibility. Jaguars chasing and scoring points to catch up to the Texans is a possibility.
We've seen it all game states from the Jags, and the Texans are bound and determined to continually throw the ball as much as they have, even though, and this is surprising considering some of the guys that we started the year with that we didn't hate. Devin Singletary. It hasn't been against good defenses, but Devin Singletary, again, 100 yards. Like if you have a half decent running back that can knock 5 yards a carry, it's better than not having it. So I think the Texans are very good offensively. I guess probably everything. I'm gonna have to look at the pressure. I had the pressure rates up earlier.
Yeah. What the question from Mass? What don't you like about the Jags D? This isn't even really a like or not like. This is just you look at their EPA per play, you look at their market rating, and I think there is decent room that this corrects back to a league average defense. Like right now, their generic defensive points for the defense are 11th best in the NFL. I think it's probably closer to 16. EPA per play, they're in the top 10 right now across all defenses. They're probably league average. Actually, their defense is somehow way low on EPA per play. I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading this somehow. But whatever the case is, I think there's some perception that the defense is better than they are. And I think the regression is probably
coming. A lot of it has come at the hands of hey, they played the Falcons early at home. They played the Bills in a weird spot. Like I do believe my eye test compared with what we're seeing on paper aren't jiving, and a lot of it comes from like the Bills in a really sleepy spot in London where they looked like shit, getting to play the Colts the next week. I mean the Jags game, or excuse me, the Steelers game. I mean we've seen what that offense is. The Titans with Levis, that offense has been dead for 3 weeks from last week, and then when we did see a good offense finally go up against them. I mean, you saw what the Niners did.
Yeah.
That's where I'm just looking at like, and yes, they pass rate over expectation. They're 30th.
Yeah. Right now in EPA per play, they're 8th, but in the second half, it's like they're like third. They're like at the bottom.
It's really odd looking on paper at where where the defense ranks amongst other teams because it doesn't look right. And then you look at a lot of those game states, and then go look at the Niners game. Like, no, that's the defense. You know, it's not going to be against bad teams that are going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But a good team can shred this. A team that can protect the quarterback can, shred the secondary.
This is another wild.
They have one good secondary piece
until digging into this.
Dead against medium bad, like middle of the pack teams. They can hang, and I think that's maybe what's buoying its numbers a little bit.
Dude, this is crazy. I didn't realize this, even though I've watched a lot of Jags games. Their defense EPA per play in first halves, number 2, behind the Ravens. Like, they are getting out to very, very solid starts defensively. Their defense in the second half, 29th in EPA per play. This is Jordan Love situational.
Jordan Love playing linebacker.
We should just be betting Jags second half overs and call it a day. Christ, my goodness. How does it take us this long to figure out all of the automatics, man?
Should we double down on the second half?
Yeah, exactly. I think we just just dance lightly at current price, and we'll get in second half. Yeah, same as getting in second half for Green Bay, same as getting in second half under for Chiefs. That's the way you bet these teams. Tampa, Andy, you ready?
Yes.
Oh, I guess one other question. One other point on Houston, Jacksonville. If you disagree with us and you feel like Houston is obviously the right side in this game, just bet the AFC South.
Well, I think I said that in the Discord.
Did you say that? Okay.
I said bet both if you want, but like if you are really wanting to bet Texans money line, I would take a little of that stake. It's like plus 260 to win the South right now. Put something on that as well.
And while you're at it, DeMeco Ryans coach of the year, because if they win this game and if they win the South, who's beating him right now? Dan Campbell? Dan Campbell's really the only guy with a case.
Yeah, it's Campbell, and that's it. Like, it's a 2-man race then. Like, McDaniel running the table with some big wins would put him back in the convo, but right now it's probably Dan and DeMeco. On to Buccaneers Colts. Like I said, I kind of loved how Baker looked last week, despite losing by multiple scores. Surprise, Darius Leonard released. He hasn't been the same player. I think that's one of the guys behind him. I hate to dog on a guy for doing his job and trying his best, but he's been trading on his name because he came into the league hot. He was a very good young player, and some injuries really derailed that. If you go look at his just player ratings and even just PFF grades, he hasn't been great for the last couple of years.
It really all went downhill when he changed his name to Shaq.
I don't think anyone's going to claim him. As a couple people have pointed out, it's $6 million. If you claim him, you're paying him $6 million this year. But also you're paying him $6 million next year, and that's injury guaranteed. He's a guy who's been injured a bunch, so it's not a really desirable contract.
Yeah, you don't get to do a physical on him before you claim him.
You just grab him. So it's a case where he probably clears waivers and gets to talk to some teams. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. He's going to catch on, obviously.
Okay.
I mean, even his depth, somebody's going to want him.
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason I think the Colts did this also is because they have good linebackers. Like Zaire Franklin is crushing this year. You don't really need him, and you're paying him, so maybe you hope that becomes somebody else's problem. Their pass rush is still pretty anemic.
Zerpolo's his best bet.
Zerpolo likes Bucks, huh? Okay. I can't really defend the Gardner Minshew being a 2.5 point favorite.
You know what they have going for them?
What? Jonathan
coming
Taylor?
off a bye? I
They're
don't
coming off
know.
a bye. Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that's about
that's it. That's it.
They're home. They're rested. I don't know, man. Yeah, this is probably Bucks or pass. If it gets to 3, I'm going to seriously think about it.
Is Tampa coming up? Is Tampa was playing at San Fran?
Yes. So this is second week in a row on the road.
Second week in the road and Indy off the bye.
We've seen
So I
plenty of
guess
examples
little
of teams
bit,
who are
little
home
bit.
off the bye, though, kind of give you a little bit
Yeah,
of a limp dick effort.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to make any cases. I don't know. I just have kind of fallen in love with what this Buccaneers offense can do because
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
What's 2.5 plus 6?
Well, let me ask you this. So the Buccaneers defense is
Tease them.
Tease 2.5 plus 6 is a good teaser leg. Oh,
This
yeah,
is
Bucks
probably
tease.
this is probably my other teaser leg
definitely.
with the Lions for sure.
Colts winning by margin? I don't think so.
It would take
I
some.
don't
It would
think
take
so.
the bad part of the biker.
Here's
cycle.
the one thing I can say about the Colts. It's nice. You ready for this?
I am.
Better coach. Shane Steichen's awesome.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles is not. I think in general, Buccaneers defense with their affinity for putting cornerbacks on an island, not really at risk here. I mean, Pittman's having a fine season, but he's not going to absolutely trash you. Gardner Minshew's not going to absolutely trash you. Gardner Minshew under pressure under the blitz. Is he a chance to turtle? Sure. Yeah, I could see the Buccaneers defense showing up in this one. I hope they don't, because I like the potential to bet an under with the Bucks Panthers next week. I just hope that price gets preserved a little bit. No opinion on this game for me. Let's keep moving.
Yeah, and a big part of this too to watch. I don't think Josh Downs is going to be good to go.
Okay.
Still battling his knee injury. You heard it I think before the Carolina game.
Okay.
It's been flaring up. He didn't practice leading up to the New England. He was active. I don't know. We'll see. He's not healthy. And even if he's playing, I don't think he'll be healthy. And he's a big part of their underneath game. So
it's very true.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will be teasing the shit
out of the Bucks. Okay. New England at the New York Giants. The Showerfard game of the season.
No, man. There's like 3 of them this week.
This one's the worst, dude. This is definitely the worst.
We don't know who the quarterback will be for New England.
No.
At this point.
And it probably doesn't matter.
Is there a big difference for you between Mac and Zappy and
no?
There's one other guy.
Malik Cunningham.
No, I think they got rid of Cunningham.
Who's the third guy?
Boy,
I mean, it is dire. It is.
It doesn't matter.
It's Will Greer. My bad. It's Will Greer.
Will Greer. There we go. That's right.
There was buzz that Zappy was QB1, Will Greer was QB2, and Mac Jones was QB3. Was that not true? That was just somebody. That was just somebody speculating.
Yeah, that was just people.
Okay.
Speculating.
All right. I mean, the Patriots offense is an absolute atrocity. It's a crime against humanity. That alone should get Bill Belichick scrutiny. The Giants offense is led by Tommy DeVito, who got sacked 9 times last week and still won. I don't understand it. And the Giants, here's the thing. There are some smart people that broke down that game, and they were like, "Here's how the Giants beat the Commanders." Andy, you know what I kind of was more interested in? Why did they do it? Yeah. Why are they trying to win? Why are they trying to win this game? Right? Like, this is potentially your deciding game for the first overall pick in the draft and your future franchise quarterback. And if the Giants incidentally win, kind of shame on them. I don't know, man.
I think one might be locked up. I don't know how Carolina gets any more wins. It'll be funny when Carolina's one win is over like a division champ, because that game still sticks in my craw a little. But the funny part here is the Giants are taking money, and they're the home team, and maybe the Patriots shouldn't be a big, favorite over anybody. But this opened at like 5 at BetOnline. There was 4.5s all over. This is pretty much painted 3. I understand it. Like that. Like if you ask me which way does this market move, it's going to move a couple points. So it's going to move 2 points. I'm like, well, certainly not going to Patriots minus 7.
No.
So like, I guess, you know, I would have leaned it going this way, but it went this way pretty hard, pretty quick. If they can scheme stuff, easy stuff for DeVito, I guess it's still a defense that's, you know, it lost some important pieces early on, hasn't been the same.
Yeah.
It's still above average in my mind. And the Giants have a pass rush at times.
Yeah, I gotta highlight this comment from Benson. NFL should play New England, New Giants, Carolina, Tennessee on the same field at the same time in the Megaplex Shit Bowl. Even if you put all 4 of those teams together, you still would not have 2 functional offensive lines.
Yeah, that total would be like 44.
It would be atrocious. Like, honestly, combine Tennessee and New England right now, do you have a better team?
I mean, you're still starting Will Levis. You don't have a great. You still don't have a good.
Your best wide receiver is still Hopkins. You still don't have an offensive line.
Your offensive line. You take those 10 guys. You still don't have a good offensive line.
You still don't have a good offense. If you could combine the rosters of New England, Tennessee, you still have a bad offense. You could combine the offenses of Giants and Carolina. Are we starting DeVito or Bryce Young? I mean, it has to be asked.
Yeah, nice front 4. You'd have a good pass rush.
Yeah, you have a good pass rush. Yeah.
I'm not interested in wagering on this game.
All right, Carolina, Tennessee. I'm not interested in watching any of this game. These teams are in trouble. These franchises are in trouble. The quality of the NFL is in trouble.
Do you think the Panthers are looking for a new coach?
I would think so.
It doesn't feel like it's all duckies and bunnies down there. There's strife, and they're going to be 1-6.
No, I guess. What did you think of the results from the decision of Frank Reich to give up play calling duties to Thomas Brown, and then take them back? Good return on that decision. So far?
and it looks bad from the outside too. If you're an owner, if you're a GM, just like, hey, you guys are making us look like fucking clowns here too. Like,
yeah.
You know, we're waffling on decision making. We're losing almost every game. We picked the wrong guy, took the wrong son. You know, it's just like, oh my God, nothing has gone well. They've had injuries to some of their young stars on defense. Oh,
yeah,
God. It's just not good. The fact that Will Levis has put up the performance he has the last 3 weeks and is a 4-point favorite speaks volumes to where the Panthers are. My raw power numbers would make this Tennessee minus 4.5.
Yep.
Close enough. Not
very
betting.
Good. Very good.
If you had to bet side total, you had to make a bet on this one.
Plus the points, and this is probably 13-10 type of game.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Give me Panthers and under. Yeah.
I could talk myself into an under here.
I can talk myself into the Panthers defense being still on the come up. I mean, Ajero Evero, I like as a coach. Yep. And I like the conceptual work that Vrabel has shown at times. He's got Jeffrey Simmons, so yeah, under is probably the only bet I would make if you made me bet this game. But Panthers at 3.5 or 4, 3.5 that's a big number.
Love Burns, yeah. Luvu, Burns, they have some good players.
Yeah, no, if you combine Titans, Patriots, and you combine Jets, Carolina, you have 2 great defenses and 2 atrocious offenses and a lot of bad coaches.
Just like who's your head coach?
Well, Belichick probably over Vrabel, right? Right now, who's got a faster fastball?
I don't know.
Belichick's
Dude.
throwing 89.
All my silly Pats hardos are like craving Vrabel to come back home. Vegas Refund made it like he's like, do you think this could happen? Like, VR, buddy. What are we doing? Just take all the championships and like get over the Patriots for the next 10 years because it might be rough.
Yeah, just enjoy the Celtics because the Celtics have 10 years of being the best team in the NBA.
Celtics should be very good.
Yeah. All right.
Wolves in 6 though. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, another stinker. We did fire an OC today. 34.5. Steelers -1. Let me make sure these.
Talk me through the firing. You learned about it when, and your initial reaction was what?
I mean, duh. So
profile and courage for Mike Tomlin.
Drew, let's get off topic here. Oh my God, I'm not even gonna let you do this. All right, I'm not gonna let you do this today. So let's
Okay.
talk parlay math, and you guys, we're not going to go through the math of expected value or how
Yes.
parlay math works, but let's say
Yes.
the whole world has a team as a minus 120 money line, and your book has them plus 110. You can bet that, and just whatever
Parlay
you
it.
feel
Yes,
about that.
sure.
However you feel about the efficient market. No, I thought this like you should have some instant expected value. That is a good bet.
That is a
And
good bet.
you find two of those,
Yes.
and you parlay them together.
Yes.
That amount of EV
Compounds.
it compounds. It
Multiplier.
Yeah, it multiplies the EV. It makes it both bets even better.
Yes. The expected value of one times the expected value of another makes a big old expected value. Right.
Now, if you did the opposite can be said as well. If the whole
That's
market,
that's why in the blind, if you're a new player, parlays are trash.
Yeah, if you're taking the worst number in the market and parlaying it with the worst market number in the market at another book,
yes,
you are compounding how negative your EV is there.
I'm with you. Is this a Canada Pickett corollary?
Yes, this is what we're doing. So I don't think it was all Canada, and I don't think it was all Pickett.
But together they were the Alta suck.
If you take an OC that's in the bottom 25% of the OCs and a quarterback that's in the bottom 25, and you put them together, you're going to get an offense that scores like this team has been scoring. I don't like Pickett. I don't think he has, I don't think someone's going to come and turn his game around. I mean, we've just seen it's mechanics, it's decision making. He can probably be better than what he is right now, but I'm not seeing it long term. So this has just been, it's been a sad sight because this is a well-coached team. I'll give you that. Don't fucking start. But it's a well-coached team. It's a team that has some pieces on defense still, even after some injuries. It's a good defense. It's got a couple of good receivers. It's just you can't have play calling and quarterback play this bad and make it. And then still, but wait, did you see the preseason? I know, my God, I was in love with the preseason. So
oh God,
they're very good against backups. That offense was humming in the preseason. Anyway, I guess I don't see some big leap from the Steelers offense here, but man, this is like you're facing a backup. This is a big drop off from Burrow.
Sure.
I don't have a strong number in this game.
I think it's Steelers or pass, and I bet the Steelers in this one. And this is not because of the brilliance of Mike Tomlin, who, when put to the fire, made the correct decision to part ways with Matt Canada, and then when he was asked what he wanted to see different schematically, responded, "I just want to see points." Like, he gets it, Andy. He gets it. He just wants to see points. Is that too much to ask for? Or was it too much to ask Matt Canada?
Are you worried that this is a desperate move from a man who knows he's built a house of lies and this team isn't actually good?
No, I think this is a man who's ready to move on from Pickett, and he needed to make sure it was both things were a problem, not just one.
It's
I'm not joking. I'm really not
crazy
kidding.
too. Like,
know that Pickett
is next. What percentage of like coordinator fires are predicated on like I'm getting fired soon and this is a job saving effort?
At least 50%.
It's over half, I'd say.
Yeah.
Definitely. This is definitely not this. Tomlin has a million karma credits built up with this front office. This is an old school team. They trust their man there, but it had to happen. It really, really did. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't love what they did. They named an OC, but then they have somebody else doing the play calling.
The quarterback. Cause I think it's a communication thing. They just want to make sure comms between the quarterback coach and Pickett are clear. It may just be a communications thing. I think the offensive
maybe one's up in the thing, one's down.
Could be. Whatever the case is, I do think Pickett is on borrowed time. He needs to prove that it was Canada's fault and that he is showing growth this year. Because if he doesn't finish the season strong, he's done. My favorite piece of trivia around the Canada firing I don't know if you saw this one, but I hope you did. Or if you didn't, I'm going to blow your mind. Ready? First in-season move in the Steelers org chart
since like the
1941. 1941 was the last time they had an in-season move. The best was that in-season move. You saw what it was, right? One of the co-owners fired himself because he decided he was doing a bad job. That is unbelievable franchise stability. I don't think I've ever tried to really wrap my head around that kind of culture. Actually, you know why I didn't realize they had that kind of culture? Because they didn't put it on the field, like the Miami Heat with the Heat culture. Like, unless you spell it out for me, I don't realize what your culture is all about. But the Steelers in general, expecting a bounce from this offense against the Bengals defense, why not? This Bengals defense is playing poorly, man.
That's where I have a bet. I think you might like.
This is playing poorly, and Jake Browning against TJ Watt. Good fucking luck. I think this has a chance. I think the Steelers can win this one clean.
So that's right. I have a bet you might like. It would be Steelers team total over 16.5.
Let's do it. Dead cat bounce, baby.
Dead cat bounce. New play calling.
Here we go.
You know, it's been a deep beat gamer 99 points out. Yes, a bunch of explosive plays. Yeah, losing both safeties turned out worse than we thought. The pass rush hasn't been there at times. Oof. This is a spot. Yes, like it might just be what we saw last week with hey, Jalen Warren's really good and the rest of us suck. This is a play I'm going to make, and I hate myself, but it's kind of buying the Steelers offense at the absolute bottom.
Can you give me your best guess about two important Bengals injuries? Thank God we're not guessing about Burrow when we know it's Jake freaking Browning. T. Higgins and Sam Hubbard. Your opinions?
I feel like Higgins isn't going to go again.
Okay. How about Sam Hubbard?
Hubbard, I felt like Hubbard was closer last week. Or did he play?
No.
He was out, but Hendrickson got back in.
Hendrickson did come back in.
Hendrickson was back in. Hubbard did not play.
I will tell you this. The splits of rush defense for the Bengals with Hubbard on and off.
Hubbard is Devondre Campbell, man. Like, he makes a huge difference.
Whoa. Yes. I didn't realize. And then you saw it schematically against the Ravens. Like, that defense was drawn dead, trying to stop the run in the second half of that game. It was awful.
Yeah, he was Hubbard was LP questionable, I think, today. I'm going to follow up on that.
Okay. All right. Well, if Hubbard is a no-go, then I strongly endorse the Steelers team total over. Otherwise, I just think the Steelers win, probably because their defense scores some points against Jake Browning.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Jake Browning.
Jalen Warren, 2 touchdowns. TJ Watt, 1 touchdown. That's all we need.
I like it. That's all we need.
Yeah, we got Bengals colors on.
Yes. We do.
Or Browns.
2 teams, I bet. No.
Saints.
I did. Oh, I bet against both Bengals and the Browns this week.
Yeah.
Oops.
Saints got some bad news today, didn't they?
Well, was it? Michael Thomas hasn't really been a game breaker for them.
I know, but he's better than his replacement.
Is he?
Yeah,
more targets to Olave and Rashid?
Well, I like Olave and Rashid. I'm saying, who's the third guy?
A.T. Perry.
Oh, God. He's better than that, even with a bad ankle and a bad knee.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
this is down to a pick.
It is bad news. I would, but like the question swirling around Derek Carr, number 1, is he going to go? And number 2, does he just absolutely suck? Are still need to be answered. I don't have answers to either of those questions.
So we had that question going into the bye, and kind of you forget about these things, but Derek Carr was very not healthy, and he's like terrible. Everyone's like, oh, he's gonna be fine coming out of the bye. Right now, we're sitting on Tuesday evening. I'm not touching this game without knowing a full status of Derek Carr.
Okay,
it's a big difference between. I mean, if we got healthy Carr, if we got he looks like shit in practice, but he's gonna play anyway. If we get Jameis. If we get some mixture of there's no reason to bet this game. There's 15 other games. I want no part of this. Ritter is back in the saddle. Probably get more offense, but more turnovers. It's more high variance offense with Ritter compared to Heineke, but fuck me, I don't want to bet this game. Go Saints. I'd like the Saints to win for division price stuff. Everything else went their way.
Yeah. Okay. I would really like the Saints not to fuck this up.
Oh, not only that, but I have Falcons to miss the playoffs. I got like plus money on that at one point.
Goodness gracious. Let's
so I've already bet this game.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, sitting on it, and we're gonna have to spend a little bit of time Sunday. Let's make sure we both
I don't
watch
have good
enough of that.
advice.
Let's make sure we watch enough of that game to have some thoughtful commentary on Sunday. Is that cool?
Yeah, I'll be around Sunday.
Rams Cardinals, did not bet this one. Surprised that the Rams opened favorites, not surprised that the Cardinals are favorites now. Is that true, actually?
Yeah, the Cardinal, it depends what shop you're at. It's kind of been bouncing back. We'll just call it kind of a pick.
No Cup? Yes, Cup, Puka?
The Cup
yes,
news
Stafford?
is worrisome. I think Stafford goes. Cup seems like they kind of want to treat that with kid gloves. Ankle. I thought it was hamstring at first, but it sounds like it's ankle.
Okay. Kyler Murray is he doesn't have any weapons. Is he going to be able to move this ball in the Rams defense? He should.
Who was the leading receiver for the Cardinals last week, Drew?
Oh, man. Was it the backup tight end, McBride?
No, he was third, I believe. He had some catches, though. He's good.
Let me think. It wasn't Wilson. Wasn't Hollywood. Was it?
I'll open it to the chat too.
Sheesh, man! I don't even know any other guys on that list. It wasn't Moore? Oh, Moore had one big. He had one 48-yard touchdown. Was it Rondale Moore?
Matt, he was second with Dortch. So Rondale Moore was second in yardage with his one catch. Dortch had like 75 yards.
Jesus,
he is doing it without a lot of help around him. Having Wilson healthy would be obviously great.
The Dortress.
Getting the Dortress. It's not that guy.
Dude,
love that guy, Lou.
Lou Dortress, yeah.
So it's obviously a lot better with Kyler back there. He's creating plays. He can move. He's just a better, obviously, quarterback than what we're getting. And I love Dobbs, but I mean, especially compared to what we got the 1 week with. Oh my God, what was his name? I can't even remember his name now. Clayton Tune. Tune time. So
yeah, James Conner back matters.
Conner back matters quite a bit. So it's kind of, how do you feel about this Rams defense? It's a road game. It's a division game. I would lean Cardinals here, but
yeah. You want to hear an insane way to roster a football team, Andy? Like just truly like deranged. You put your quarterback, you get a quarterback who's 5'9" in Kyler Murray, and you give him weapons, including Hollywood Brown, who's 5'9", including Rondale Moore, who's 5'7", and Greg Dortch, who's 5'7". How in the world are you assembling the world's smallest football team, and why?
Full ass lollipop guild.
Why are we doing this?
Yeah, that's something. They're all real little, aren't you? I'm only like 5'9".
Little guys, man. All right. I think ultimately with Kyron Williams coming back for the Rams and James Conner back for the Cardinals, maybe this is a more entertaining game than we realize. You got a little bit more balanced attacks. Both of these defenses I have questions about. I guess the Rams offensive line is a little bit healthier right now. Cardinals offensive line has been playing okay. I could talk myself into an over if you made me bet this game, but I really have no interest in playing it. So let's keep moving. I think these two teams are both out of the playoffs and kind of irrelevant, right?
So let's stop for a second, because I wanted to talk, and I didn't get a chance to do this when we did this the Seahawks game, but NFL playoff picture. So I looked at what Geno has with the injury, and then I looked at the schedule for the Seahawks, and I'm like, fuck me, the Seahawks are in trouble.
Yeah,
they have a hard schedule, and they will probably lose some games going forward. But look at this playoff picture and look who's chasing them and essentially at this point. So the Seahawks have the Niners, Cowboys, Niners, Eagles in 4 weeks. That's their schedule. I mean, you could pretty easily talk me into 0-4 there.
Yeah.
Even though two of the, and that's the thing, two of those games are at home. But man, like 1-3 feels like a win at this point because those teams are playing well.
Yeah.
But looking at the schedule and then the playoff picture, it's like, who the shit is going to catch them? Because at this point, let's just put the Vikings in the playoffs based on they'll probably get a couple wins. Like after that, so the Seahawks are 6-4, the Vikings are 6-5. After that, it is the Packers, Rams, Falcons, Bucks, all at 4-6.
Oh.
So let's say Seattle goes 1-3. That makes them 7-7. Like one of those teams has to go 3-1 in that stretch just to tie with Seattle.
They all have easy schedules.
They do, but like I wanted to bet Seattle to miss the playoffs, and
Minnesota would flip them for the 6th seed.
Yeah, Minnesota
knock them out of the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the thing. Two of these teams that would have to get in if Minnesota gets out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it would take a lot. So I don't think the Rams are out, but man, the NFC wildcard playoff picture is sad.
Yeah, and let it be clear on the record. I am not I'm not shaming Short King season.
What
no shade.
Call.
No
what
shade.
A call by Nick C. Are you familiar with this song?
What's that? I Love LA.
No, Randy Newman, Short People, scathing.
Oh yeah,
He's satire, whatever you want to call it. It's not really like funny, but
yeah, I will say this though.
Short people got nobody. I do an okay Randy Newman.
No, it's just if you're bringing your player level model for the wrong football. Like you're out there getting guys that profile like Lionel Messi, and you're putting them on a football field. Like I don't know how you expect this to succeed without a little bit of variety. If you have a couple of guys who are short, speedy guys, cool. Tutu Atwell, good compliment to Cooper Kupp and Puka Nakua. But 3 Tutu Atwells is a problem. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird way to roster a team, and I don't know. Whoever put that team together was on drugs, I think. Let's move on to Cleveland, Denver, where I did bet. Let's go Broncos. Broncos country. Let's ride. I think the Broncos played about a 33rd percentile game and still beat the Vikings on Sunday night.
They could not finish drives. I mean, they were moving.
That was a bad game by them, and they still won. Now you get to take on DTR on the road under a field goal. The Browns defense, I still feel, is pretty clearly all universe, all time at home, and just pretty good on the road by my numbers. The home road splits are real here. So I think Broncos finding a little bit of offense is expected. And then Broncos defense, even in the absence of the most wanted man in America, Kareem Jackson, I still think that defense is good enough to limit DTR and company to, a 10, 13 point output. So Broncos covering this number by 3, I think is in play. Am I nuts?
I'm kind of right there with it. But yeah, this Broncos defense has been a lot better since it got healthy. I mean, what are you going to do against Dobbs? Dobbs just finds ways to beat people. He just creates plays. Honestly, like that first touchdown, the touchdown that he threw, I'm not just trying to be a dick and like rile you guys up. That was Mahomesian. Like how he scrambled off to the, that left or off to the right side, shook off a sack and threw a touchdown. Like Dobbs is good. He creates stuff. He's gonna probably regress a little, but
what's not great for the Dobbs signal?
But
his second half EPA per play.
It was against a tough defense.
No, for the season.
Yeah,
he's been bad in second halves all season for some reason.
Teams are adjusting.
I don't know what it is, but he can't necessarily put 4 good quarters of play together. He had a good second half against the Falcons, and then every other second half he's played, he has been bad.
I know, but if you're counting at Arizona games, it's so tough because that's such a bad squad around him.
Okay, he's only outperforming Zach Wilson in terms of second half EPA per play.
Minnesota's just playing with leads. What are you going to do?
Okay. I bet against
So
Minnesota this week. By the way, I took the plus 3.5 with Chicago, but we'll save that for Sunday's pod.
That's probably the right side there.
But yeah, I mean, this isn't like, I don't think there is a long-term buy here with the Broncos. I think we're close to the market finally getting them right after that 70-point explosion just completely tainted their sample of defensive statistics this season.
Benson's asking, did the Browns really open -3? I might have a wonky screen. Probably looking at a screen that shows you look ahead numbers from prior to Sunday's openers.
Yeah.
So the look ahead with Watson in would have been quite a bit different.
The other Benson
there'd have been a number from
the other Benson hung a pick'em on Sunday.
Yeah.
At Circa.
Broncos are live to for the playoffs too.
Yeah.
If the Steelers screw up at all, I mean, right now the Bills aren't in, but like the Browns and Steelers falling out of the playoffs doesn't seem.
Do you have the Broncos rated above or below an average team right now?
I have like 20 teams below an average team somehow.
That's the state of things, right? I'm not crazy.
It is really a state. I told you, like my mean and my median are not terribly close right now. It is crazy. A very top heavy league for me. The way I have my power numbers, it is incredibly top heavy, and there's a 5 teams small gap, 3 or 4 more teams big gap, and then a bunch of shit, and then you get to Carolina.
Here's one that'll really make your head spin. The average team right now is half a point worse than an average team, according to Unpredictable, which is wild. And the median is 1.5, 1 3/4.
I wonder what mine's at. Let me pull an average of this quick. So my average. Oh, where's just my composite? Where's week 12 here? My average is 0.37. Below 0, negative 0.37. So I'm not quite as low as them, but yeah, my average team is almost a half point worse than an average team right now.
Okay.
I can't disagree with you on this one. Like if you're starting to see you are starting to see a little bit of a connection with Russ and Sutton. He's a good receiver. They have good running backs. It's not a bad team. And the Browns are just trying to play off their defense.
Yeah, and in the spirit of Sean Payton just copying game plans and finding them successful, can he copy the Colts with Gardner Minshew and what they did to this Browns team in Indy earlier this year? Yeah, sure. Now that doesn't get you a win, but if your defense gives up 33, I guess. But I don't think DTR is scoring 33. Let's move on.
We're on to Philly. Big win. Bit of a letdown spot at home, or the coaching is too good. That was massive for their one seed equity, because this is the tough part of their schedule, and the Lions coming back had to sting so bad because they could have gotten a really nice lead for the 1 seed. Now as it sits, they are ahead by 1 game. They are undefeated in conference though. The Lions do have the 1 conference loss. That is your first tiebreaker for seeding. If these two teams will not play each other, Eagles, Lions.
No. So
the tiebreaker would be conference record. So this is less important, but they're all important, obviously. Eagles -3.5. This total's been bet up. We both made a case for that on Sunday. That's a ticket we have. I'm assuming you played that. I played that.
Yes.
Like this is an over game. The Eagles secondary has been beaten. Mahomes just had some bad luck. Like Mahomes probably should have been able to put 30 on this team. A couple of really untimely turnovers for the Chiefs that cost them that game. I don't think the Eagles were the right side. It was one of those where I saying that to the guys in the Discord. I said I looked at all the matchups, and I think I should bet the Eagles. And then you throw like Mahomes is just like the ultimate draw 4 card, where it's like, oh, but you have this guy. And it just kind of ruins everything. And honestly, they probably should have covered that game. They should have at least won. What I was dreading for all my friends who had -2.5 was a drawn out drive where they scored with no time left.
Yeah, and it went by 2.
Went by 2 because they didn't kick it.
I thought about that too.
I thought that was what was going to happen. But at the same time, this Bills defense is battered, beat up, missing every week. Somebody gets hurt in this defense, it feels like, and they're already missing the most important pieces. A good team with a true wide receiver one, a very good second option, the tight ends and running backs that go along with it, and a creator in the backfield can score on this team.
Who's the good second option? Shakir?
No, I'm talking Philly.
Oh, sorry.
I hope to see more Shakir. I like him more than Gabe at times.
Good second option is Devontae Smith.
Yeah, Devontae Smith. And I know it sucks that, Goddard is out for a while, but they seem to they'll find their way.
Okay.
It's going to be kind of a, hey, here's 3 more tight ends, and we're going to kind of use them all. And we're just going to have to lean on Swift a little more for short stuff, but it's this is a good game. I'm not sure if we get good Josh Allen or bad Josh Allen, but either way, I think we get points.
I think we get good Josh Allen.
That'll be more fun. This is going to be the jewel.
Yeah.
Of
I played
3 o'clocks.
I played Bills plus 158 on the money line, and I played over 47 and a half. So I have a lot invested in this game, and it all kind of points to the Bills scoring. So if bad Josh Allen shows up, you might be doing the pod by yourself on Sunday. It might be the Andy solo pod.
Maybe if bad Josh Allen shows up for some pick sixes at least.
That would be fine.
Split.
That would be fine with me.
Yeah.
But no, I think the Eagles' defense is havable. I think you're seeing the pass rush becoming gettable. Pass rush is becoming less and less effective. Although, here, I'm going to say something nice about the Eagles, and then I'm going to say 5 minutes of stuff. If you're an Eagles fan, just mute this, or just put this all back in my face. If the Eagles go on win the Super Bowl series, that's fine. The Eagles did a really, really nice job on Monday, Andy, of preventing Pat Mahomes from having any success on the ground. How many rush attempts did you see from Pat Mahomes? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, he had like 30 yards, probably 5, 6.
But did you think that the lack of attempts and success, particularly in the second half, particularly down the home stretch, did you think that was an accident? Because most of his running came in the first half.
Are you want to attribute that to second half adjustments for Philly?
Exactly.
You're saying.
Yes.
I don't hate that. And I really did, despite the flukiness of the fumble and what we saw in the second half, I really do have to give Philly a lot of credit. Those drives they put together in the late in the third, and they're obviously the game winning one. Those were really good. And then the fact that they were able to stymie Mahomes multiple times, because we had the turnover, but there was a couple drives where especially the last couple, they just kind of put them on their ass. And there were penalties, but Philly played really good ball in the second half and still probably didn't deserve to win. It's crazy. That's your Super Bowl favorites. I hope we see this matchup again. I hope we get this one more time. This would be a fun one. I want Niners, Chiefs, or Eagles, Chiefs, I think, or Baltimore. Any combination of those 4 teams is what I want right now. And then, Reed punting in that situation.
Indefensible. But no, I thought Mahomes had 1 rush for 9 yards in the second half by my tally, and it was on 2nd and 12, so didn't even get a first down. When Mahomes is kind of under duress and the Chiefs are under duress, the degree to which he goes to the run on those intermediate third downs and is just wildly successful is unbelievable. And the Eagles found a way to not let him do that, which I thought was pretty good. Now here's the other thing about the Eagles. The bill is coming due, right? Getting up for these games and now having to go Bills, Niners, Cowboys, back to back, and then you want to throw the Seahawks in there too. This is the stretch where they are, truly thrown into the fires of Mount Doom here, right? And one of 2 things happens, Andy. Either they take their losses, they take their lumps, and what's the Rule 34 on?
It means if something in the universe exists, there's a porn parody of it.
Oh, I didn't know that rule. That's great. That's a very funny rule.
It's true.
Yeah. So the 2 things happen here, right? Either they go into these the crucible of these games and they get hardened and, fight through it, or they take some losses. And I think it probably makes them a little bit better. Can you think of an example of a team who played through stretches like this and had success, like just eked out wins, found ways to win, right? And like it didn't ultimately at some point come back to bite them in the playoffs?
I mean, I don't know. The first team that came to mind.
You know what I'm getting at?
I don't know if I'm thinking of the same one as you, but at first comes to mind is the Bengals of the last couple of years, where it's like, man, this team can't be this good. And then they win a bunch of games against good teams. And granted, they never did win the big one, but those teams made it deep into the playoffs. Who are you trying to get at? You've lost me.
Well, not like a specific team, but just like an archetype. Like there is a growth from loss.
Well, yeah.
When you're playing these really good teams in the regular season, and I feel like if the Eagles kind of keep pushing themselves out there, keep fighting hard in the regular season to get these wins, like I don't know, at some point I feel like they're almost better served in the long run to just take some lumps at some point. Is that crazy?
I mean, I would rather have the 1 seed than lumps. I think too many lumps lead with you playing in wild card weekend. I would much rather sit down that weekend.
Okay. So you just get up every week, use the good plays every week. Like
I would get up a lot more for obviously the Niners game.
Niners next week. Yeah.
You gotta win the
Dallas
NFC
in
games.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Dallas, and like those are more important than this Buffalo game.
Yeah.
If you drop this game and win the 2 in the NFC, that would be ideal. Obviously your most ideal 2-1, and 2-1 feels like a really big win.
Yeah. No.
That said, this is a home game, and somebody asked me how I felt about the Bills' offense under Brady.
Yeah.
It wasn't better.
No.
They had, like we said, we had a couple of good drives, but really they were like 5 for 13 on third down. They had 5.5 yards per play. And I know maybe I should wash out some of the garbage time stuff. It wasn't like it was markedly better. It was just a really bad game from the other team.
Yeah.
Like it was fine. I don't think we should have had a firing in the first place. I don't think it was different. I don't know if we're going to see a difference.
Okay. So actually there was a good example of this team theory, and it's maybe the best example. It was the 07 Patriots. Right?
Oh, 18-0?
Yeah. Leaving it on the field every day and everybody playing through injuries because it was so important to keep that streak alive. And then the state that they were in come playoff time, they weren't on the come up. They limped in, right? And I think the Eagles are probably at risk if they don't take their foot off the gas a little bit here. And now would be a good time to do it. Like this would be a fine, like I will say nothing bad on Sunday if the Eagles lose this game. And it's like, hey, they'll learn some things about how they need to improve. they will learn. Like, yes, they'll be sharper next week. Yeah, hell, Eagles might be a bet next week against the Niners if they lose this game. I'm not going to war with them if they win this game. Like, there's definitely something to be said, I think, of learning from losses over the balance of the season when you're playing your tough opponents on your schedule. And I don't know if the Eagles, like, I don't know what you take away from the game against the Chiefs, right? Like, what do we need to do better? It's not obvious to me, right? Like, you won. Your pass rush could have been better.
I feel like
the run defense a little better. Your pass protection could have been a little bit better.
A good coach isn't gonna take away from that game. Like, we're fine. We just beat the Chiefs. We're fine.
I know. But the players in the meetings and stuff aren't. They're like, we won. What are you talking about, man?
Like, I mean, they're smart enough to know, like, hey, I mean, we were a ball going through the fingertips away of losing this game.
I don't know. I will say
grown-ups.
Yeah, one other kind of key thought then. Jalen Hurts' health is substantially below 100%. His ability to scramble, his mobility in the pocket was clearly on display, problem against the Chiefs in the first half of that game, especially. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
he could not evade pressure.
He's still 30 yards rushing.
Yeah, but he could not.
I thought he was going to be fine off the break. Yeah, I don't love that, especially in this next stretch coming up.
Okay. So Yeah. I mean, I don't 100% know how that factors into getting these wins, but playing through injury and just in general,
How do you feel
kind of putting
How do you
yourself
feel
out
about the
there.
Bills' pass rush?
Very good. This is the only good thing they got left. That's all they got.
Imagine if Miller ever got healthy.
Yeah, that would really be
help.
a factor. That would
Maybe
be a
for the
factor.
playoffs. Maybe for the playoffs. So, all right, Drew's on the Bills. Drew's on the over. I'm on the over. I'm hoping for a fun game because the other 3:00 games kind of stink. Do you have anything else on this, or do you want to go to sunny Las Vegas?
Not really. I just think. Oh, I guess I'll say the Bills' offense against the Eagles' defense. Like you got a wide receiver one in Stephon Diggs. He's gonna fucking cook them in this game. This is a bad matchup for them, big time. Diggs, huge. Shakir, like his matchup.
Shakir.
We should see a Gabe Davis and Dalton Kincaid sightings in this game.
I think Kincaid should have a decent day.
Yeah, and I think ultimately this is like if the Brady experiment is going to work with the Bills OC, like this is it. Like it better work tonight. Like that. This is your chance because you're going to need it. You're not winning this game. You're not winning this game with field possession and ball control. Sean McDermott. I hope you know that. All right, KC at Vegas.
Speaking of those losers, KC couldn't get it done. Kind of get a gimme. It's on the road. It's in division. Seems like over the years they've played some division games a little tighter than they should have. You always pay a premium.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see what their division record is. ATS. Maybe you should talk, and I'll go pull up the STQL.
For who?
The Chiefs.
It's very, very good. Yeah, it's very, very good.
ATS?
Yeah.
I feel like their overall ATS record has been rough. Doesn't it seem like there's a bunch of Chargers games that were just like close?
Yeah, there's some close calls. I guess if what you're saying is you feel like they're winning 80% of games, but they're covering 40. Is that where you're at? Was that what kind of where your head is at? That seems right. In the Mahomes era, that they're winning 80% of games, but they're only covering 40% of games. That seems plausible, actually. Yeah, I'm there.
All right, team equals Chiefs. I never do division. I gotta figure out some of this stuff. And season.
Yeah, over 2018.
And how do you do division?
Probably gotta go 2017 actually. You do divisional.
I gotta look up the actual divisions.
You do O and O
equals AFC East.
O colon division equals AFC West.
I just can't spell division.
So
today
I have the Chiefs at 84.8% straight up and 50% ATS since 2017.
That checks out.
Since 2018. Yeah.
So not bad, but not great.
Yeah, right. But when you're winning 90% of games and you're recovering 50%.
That's the thing. You're winning 90% of them.
Yeah, that's I think that was the point you were trying to make, right? There's like a 40-point delta between win and cover, which is not normal for just a blind sample of NFL games.
Yeah. It's a lot of points, and it's a lot of points on the road for a team with some inherent flaws.
Yeah. Their average line in these games, 7.5. This is an even bigger number.
Yeah, the Chiefs having a little issue scoring after halftime.
Yeah. Second half under.
Kind of like us. We're getting to that age. Go at it for 30 minutes. Take a little break. You're not coming out of that. You're not coming out of that locker room and going at it again.
No, I think I don't have any commentary
I'm not
on this
17
game
anymore.
I will say the AOC experience is leaving me a little cold.
It's rough.
I will also say that Andy Reid better start coaching better. He better figure it out with these decisions in games because it's going to cost them. Should have cost them against the Bengals last year in the AFC Championship game. Could have cost them a number of times. You really think about it in a couple of these high leverage playoff games. That's what keeps McDermott from being elite, is not knowing when to be more aggressive in terms of going for it and punting. Andy Reid needs to fix his approach or somebody's going to run him down. And it's going to suck because we want to see Pat Mahomes in these awesome games.
Are we not roasting Nagy enough?
I have nothing positive to say about Nagy.
I know, but I don't think we bring it up ever. Like, is that an issue?
I mean, I
Especially
assume that.
so we get all the turnovers, and it
Sure.
really tilts how we feel about the Washington Commanders, because we have these games where he's throwing a lot of interceptions, or getting sacked a ton. But when it's good with Howell, and we don't even think Howell's good. Like, I wonder if there has been a decent drop off in just the Andy Reid's still very good, but the entirety of the offensive brain trust that's putting together these game plans, that's making these adjustments at second halves. I mean, it's probably a non-zero amount that we can attribute to him. And Nagy isn't dropping the passes. Obviously, we all know the wide receivers are a huge issue. Like that.
Yeah,
that
Travis
sucks.
Kelce's playing shitty lately too. What's wrong with him?
Yeah, when he drops off even a little, wide receiver issues become painfully apparent.
Bigger deal. And like, I don't really understand who's getting why the target share distribution is what it is. Pat Mahomes had some passes last night that sucked.
Yeah.
Like the Chiefs just in general, like, weren't really sharp or up for that game, and I can't really explain why. And it probably doesn't matter, because ultimately their schedule's so easy. They're still probably going to get the 1 seed. Yeah, I mean, there's warning signs. The warning signs, there's a lot of people that are out there today saying no warning signs. And there are people saying 5-alarm fire. And the reality is probably somewhere in the middle, right?
They have an easy schedule.
So
The
there's no reason to think that
good.
they won't be there. And if they're there, then you have Mahomes, which means you have more than a chip chance.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't really make sense to me why the targets are going where they are, or why the drops are happening, or why the scheme feels clunky, or why the second halves feel lousy. I will tell you this, though. Why are the Chiefs a second half under team? This is pretty easy answer to me, and I would like your take on it. When you have an elite quarterback, you are perceived as having a good offense. You have outstanding statistical profile. Your totals are lined higher. Your second half totals are correlated to your closing total. And people are expecting that good offense means points. But in a game where you have a lead in the second half, good offense does not equal points. Good offense equals long, extenuating drives that eat clock.
And in previous years, those drives always ended with scores because they had the wide receivers.
Sure.
And now it's an extended 50-yard drive that leads to a
19-yard punt.
A punt we're not happy with, or a 4th and 5 from the 42 that they don't get.
Yeah.
Because they're just a little bit worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah. I think if you have a super elite quarterback and you have a lead in the fourth quarter, you should not be thinking fourth quarter over. You should be thinking this fourth quarter could evaporate.
Yeah. You should be thinking,
yeah,
we're gonna get 5 or 6 yards down, and just matriculate. We're gonna take 40 seconds to play.
Do a thought experiment. Why are the Eagles so incredibly good at putting away leads when they generate a lead in the first half? Well, they're playing 4-down football, so they're even better at the 10-minute drive, right? The frequency of these game-killing drives for the good quarterbacks, for the elite quarterbacks and the good offenses, is very high, which means if they are beating you, the game is effectively over, unless you have a weird outlier coach, quarterback, psycho who just wants to score for the shits, like the Cowboys like to do sometimes, and the Bills used to be in that mold. They're not anymore. So yeah, under.
Quick question from PD Apple before we get to the night game. Would you rather have the 1 seed and a bye, but have to play Dallas in round 2, or the 2 seed and play Detroit in round 2? So there is I thought about that a little once it came out of my mouth, how important the 1 seed is. The fact that you're playing like Minnesota or LA or Tampa in the first round, it's not a true bye, but man, line Philly, Minnesota in Philly right now.
11.
I was going to say, let's quickly do this. Minnesota,
this is like 10 or 11.
Philly. I'm almost at 10. Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Oops,
Philly,
that's not
Tampa,
it.
Philly,
Yeah,
Tampa.
I'd rather
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Philly makes a
Philly,
little more sense.
9.5, 10.
Yeah, that's 10.5. I mean, LA Rams is 11. Yeah, it's not a walkover, but it's a pretty easy win.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'd still rather have to buy.
It's complicated.
No matter
it's
what.
a complicated question. Okay. This year, more than any other year, the 7th seed in the NFC is so weak that the 2 seed is effectively it's not a buy. It's not a buy. I mean, there's a non-zero chance you lose that game. Non-zero chance your quarterback gets hurt in that game. Like there's a non-zero chance your playoff.
That's the other thing about not having the bye. You can have an injury.
Yeah, and especially if Jalen Hurts is still out there limping around, would you rather have that week off? Fuck yeah, absolutely, right? But your probability of getting to the NFC Championship goes down because of the matchup in round 2. Your probability of going to the Super Bowl is much higher though, because you would host an NFC Championship game either against San Francisco or Detroit.
That's the other part too, is having the 1 seed means at the link.
It's at the link, right?
In the championship series week,
whatever.
This
time. Yeah. So the idea of Philly
really
losing
don't want to fly to Dallas or San Francisco.
The idea of Philly hosting and winning and losing the NFC Championship game this year is tough for me to wrap my head around. I just don't know if it's happening.
Especially if it's Joshua.
If it's Josh Dobbs.
Unwatchable.
Yeah.
Unwatchable.
Joshua Johnson.
All right. Yeah, I agree. Let's should we just see if we can extend the under second half streak in this game?
I don't see why not. Game state matters. If the Raiders are somehow winning, then that goes out the window, right?
Yeah.
Like if the Chiefs are in comeback mode, then that now you're it's a different calculus.
Yeah, then you just bet Chiefs -8 second half.
Yeah, right. Baltimore at LAC. I was timed this well. I didn't know there was going to be a release on Chargers today, but I took the 4.5 with LA, and then Ras played Chargers, and this moved to 3.5. Is that right? Is that the read? Is that what happened? Why did this move so much?
Somebody did release on this one. We're at 3.5, 47 right now. Yeah, I understand buying low on the Chargers here. I don't think I'm comfortable with it though. I think actual money.
You're selling high a little bit on the Ravens too for 2.
You are. It is a good spot, but man, there were some stats that got thrown out, and I don't have them all. I was on a walk when I was listening to the podcast that had this, but basically it was like 20% of Green Bay's explosive plays for the year came in that game, and Green Bay put up 400 yards. And Green Bay had this many yards per play.
Yeah, and Green Bay won by 3.
Green Bay hadn't topped 20 since week 1,
and they only won by 3.
It is, and that's such a bad offense, you guys. Like the fact that the Chargers, Derwin James looks bad. Everyone looks bad.
No Joey Bosa, he's out.
Bosa is done.
Tuli's a good.
He's a very good young player.
He's a good young player. All right, so here's the case for the Chargers. It's you're selling high on the Ravens offense. You're selling high on the Ravens offense in the absence of Mark Andrews. I dig. You're selling high on the Ravens defense, which I cannot put my finger on it, Andy, but has been a little cracky,
shaky
lately. Second half of the Browns game through a lot of that Bengals game, they were not as unbelievably world-stopping as I remember, and I'm not exactly sure why. It feels like teams are starting to go play away from Roquan Smith somehow, and that's mattering because Patrick Queen is not as good a player, but I don't have all the answers to exactly why the Ravens have been gettable lately. The wide receiver, the skill position player situation for the Chargers is really fucked up.
I was going to say the only way you could talk me into this is if you said, I have someone who works on the Ravens coaching staff and they have completely forgotten that Keenan Allen plays for this team. They're not even going to cover him, Andy. Like that's the whole offense right now. He's going to get 20 targets again. He's got to be getting beat up at this point. I I want no part of this. I don't feel like I should be betting the Ravens over a field goal on the road right now with some of their inconsistencies, but the extra rest, if this gets to 3, I might bet it.
Yeah. So I ran some sims for this game, Andy. My modal outcome, most likely outcome for this game was Ravens winning by 3.
Yeah.
That happened in 100% of the sims.
I was gonna say, can I guess how often that happened in your sims? Do you have that?
I do have the number, but no, I was making a joke. So half the sims,
10.1%.
half the sims, the Ravens drive the field and kick a field goal to win. In the other half of sims, the Chargers get the ball back down 3 with a chance to tie and don't.
Oh, yeah. I thought you actually ran some sims. I was gonna say, I bet it's like 10% of the time.
It's bigger than that. Are you kidding? Ravens by 3? No, it's higher than that. Oh yeah.
Really? I would say three in general happening for either side would be about 20-25%.
That's probably pretty close actually.
So maybe I could bump it up to like 15 because they're the
14.
favorites. Okay.
14 and change.
Yeah.
That's pretty high. I mean, that's a pretty high modal outcome. It's a high enough that my median projection is barely over 3, which is why I took 4.5.
Just going to be a slap fight in the second half, in the fourth quarter.
You think?
We'll get to. It's been 2 teams that have just been constantly fucking up late. Yeah, my math on this is where are we at? Why do I have Baltimore? Oh, I still have Baltimore so much higher. I have Baltimore like 4.5.
Okay.
I don't want to play it though on the road though.
Okay.
Extra stuff Thursday helps with a good coaching staff and a good game plan. Staley is not in a good headspace.
Yeah,
chewing out reporters. Fair. So I don't disagree. You got the best of the numbers so far, but yeah, if this keeps going, I'll be forced to take Ravens for like the 17th time this year.
Oh boy.
I just take my push.
I feel like if you like the Ravens, you should just bet them outright because like they're going to get the 1 seed if they win this game, right? I
already have Ravens liability in the futures.
They're at LA. They're home versus LA. They're at the Jags, at the Niners, home Miami, home Pitt.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but the lead to this is going to. I've written some funny tweets here and there. I've had a couple of good ones. I've never giggled so hard at sending a tweet than I did yesterday when I just made that tweet about like hey, the Ravens are the 1 seed now. And some guy's like, no, Kansas City still is. And I just wrote, nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh. Yeah, that was good.
I just
sliding into the 1 seed.
Because I had to check. I'm like, this guy's not right, is he? Like, they're 8-3. That should count for something. I had to think. It gave me a little imposter syndrome. Like, is my math not right? But
right now, I have the Ravens at a 17% chance to get the 1 seed. A win here probably bumps that up into the 25% chance range.
24.25, I would have if they win. Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe I will just pass on this when they win by 2, and I'll take them to win the AFC. Add some more to my positions.
There he goes. One other quick note, by the way, before we wrap. The Browns, I have been told, are going from Denver to LA for a week in LA before the
they deserve it.
LA game next week.
Good nugget.
Yeah. Haven't decided how I feel about that, but
this motherfucker. When I was on with Pizzola, Sumo was in there, and this guy made a comment.
Yeah.
And Sue was like, MILF Hunter. They're all just like, what? You just decide that's what that means? And we had to tell Suma, like, Hunter is kind of a common last name.
Yeah.
I even knew the German translation for it.
All right, let's wrap it up. What are you most looking forward to? What are you most looking forward to for Thanksgiving, man? You tell me.
So I have a small family, just my wife and 2 kids.
Yep.
So the fact that we're going to my father's house and doing a big Thanksgiving, I probably won't do a big Thanksgiving meal at home.
Yeah.
And as much as I like cooking and doing that, I'm kind of fine with that. I just want to watch football Friday, catch some good Saturday games in college, hang out, go to the high school game. It's the only time I'm going to go to the fucking Vikings stadium for $20. So, and then Sunday's got a bunch of bangers. Yeah. So yeah, sorry, Mark Hunter. I'm kind of just looking forward to that. Hanging out with some family on Thursday. Wife works on Friday, so just me and the kids hanging out. We're gonna do some Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom in the morning. Here's the thing, Drew. We tried to go beat. I beat everything else. I got all my things, all the big missions. Tried to go beat Ganon.
Oh, really? They made Ganon much tougher.
Oh, Ganon is so hard. I'll explain to you off
like
air.
as hard as like 2 or 3 Lionels or what?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's for a different reason.
Oh,
so
okay.
anyway, I told my son, I'm like, we have a shopping list. Like, it's gonna take me like 3 hours of gameplay to collect all the things I need and all the cooking. Like, I need to go back and
we need to get the good.
Can't teleport
the
out
good
of there.
fruits and vegetables to make the the buffs.
We're gonna need some Sundelions.
Yeah.
We're gonna need some sun pumpkins. Lots of things are gonna go on. We can do that. Yeah, he was so easy. At the end of Breath of the Wild was very easy.
It was.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna watch the game Friday night. Probably just chill. And yeah, it's gonna be a really nice long weekend, guys. Drew, you're going up the coast, or where are you going?
Taking a boat over to Catalina for a little wine mixer.
Mix some wine.
Ironically,
some wine. Getting wine drunk on Friday sounds good.
That's what I'm most looking forward to, is getting wine drunk. I have wine shipments came through. A couple of really, really excited ones I was really excited for. I got 2 bottles that I'm especially excited to open and have with some food and get a little wine drunk, and that's going to be fun. Yeah.
I found a 2003 can't think of the word.
Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Chateau Neuf de Pas.
I don't know what I'm gonna have to go look what it was. It's got the word chateau in it. I don't remember.
There's
what it was.
quite a few chateaux in France.
Chateau Beaujolais.
There are a lot of, Chateau Montadon is probably the most famous of the chateaus in the Bordeaux
I might go
region.
open that one.
Oh, yeah?
I'll just go get some easy drinking ones. All right, guys.
2000, I will tell you with 100% certainty, 2003 was a really, really good vintage of Bordeaux, but it might be past its prime.
Maybe I should sell it.
Probably. Did you keep it in like an okay thermal?
Yeah, no, it's been fine. I mean, it's been
like from the time you had it.
Oh yeah. At least that's what I'll tell the people I sell it to. Let's call it a night, guys.
All right.
Appreciate you guys hanging out in this weird time. If you're listening to the podcast, did a little early. If you have any questions, any nuggets, any niblets, any ideas, recipes, wine recs, whiskey recs, thoughts, comments, questions, or anything else, hit us up on the Twitter at NDMSFW, at whale_capper, at the food snob frog, and we'll catch you guys, I don't know, sometime this weekend.
Chateau Margaux. Man, I feel like a fucking idiot. What did I say? Montadon? I don't know why I was getting confused with something else, but yeah, Chateau Mouton Rothschild. God, man. The Chateau Margaux, the Chateau Mouton Rothschild. Mouton Rothschild, Lafitte Rothschild is pretty famous.
I'm going to play this one. Bits.